morning, everyone. Patrick, Comics and Collectibles. And I was sitting here trying to figure out what would be a good opening shot for this video, because everything I'm talking about today it's in pieces, it's taken apart, or it's just a base, and none of those are really a great opening shot for a video. So I figured this would be my best bet right here. All right, so that's the opening shot. I will be talking about quite a bit of stuff today, folks, but before I get into that, a couple of notes for you. Again, I'm in my garage, but it's not so early this morning because the weather's starting to cool off, so I could come out here a little bit later than usual, and I won't be burning up out here. Again, the lighting is not that great out here. It's a little dim, so please bear with me. I'm still going through my 3D models, and they are in my normal well-lit working area. So I still can't use that yet, but I'll get back to it eventually. This is a long process. Okay, let me see. All right, I think that's it. Let's get into it, folks. I will be talking about several different things, like I said, and I'll try to differentiate between each different one, but they might possibly run together. And so if they do, I'm just going to go with it. So the first thing I want to talk about is I am working on an upcoming project, and that, hold on, let me find a pointer. Where's a pointer? There's one. And that project will involve this hideous creature right here and this snake woman right there. So that's one project, but at the same time, I am going, take two, but at the same time, I am coating and filling some of these models with resin. So that involves that that silk. Okay, take two. And that involves that silk model right there. Still haven't figured out what to fill this with, so I'm not going to even bother with that during this video. Let me see. Okay, another thing, I will be coating, I hope you can see those down there in the dark. I will be coating that logo and these two bases right there with some resin, and I'll talk more about that when I get to those. I will also be coating those two bats right there. All right, let's get to the specifics, folks. Let me put my pointer down. And I'm not hands-free this morning, so I'm going to be juggling my camera around and things will be a little shaky. So again, please bear with me. All right, yesterday I put a second, I was about to say coating, but it wasn't a coating. All right, folks, yesterday I put more resin into these parts right here. That one, this one, that one, and this one. And let's start with this so I can get it out the way. And this thing right here is rock solid, folks. Listen, hold on. Let me get my tester here. Listen. You hear that? Solid. Solid. Now, there are a couple of spots where the resin did not reach, and it's in the tendrils. You can hear it right there. It's a couple of tendrils it did not get to. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm thinking maybe I can drill a small hole, and that's the issue with these tendrils. They're not that big, so I do not want to try to put a big drill bit to these and then tear them up. So I'm thinking maybe using a real thin drill bit, putting a hole in it, but that hole would be too small for my little funnel right here. And yeah, I cut the tip off, but the tip is about the same size as the hole. So that funnel would still be too large for any hole I put in the tendrils. So I'm not sure how to deal with that, because I really want to fill these so there's no possibility that they can break off in the future. But I'll figure that out later. So again, I did completely fill him up except for the tail. I put some air dry clay I guess about that much air dry clay in here, because as you notice, resin, it runs everywhere. So I couldn't set him up and fill this part with resin. So there's air dry clay, and the white stuff you see on these other parts, that's air dry clay also. So I fill this guy up. He is rock solid and heavy as hell. And it's a good solid. What is it about a heavy statue that gives us that good feeling, folks? I really don't know, but it feels good. It feels the weight, you can feel it in your hand. It just feels sturdy and permanent. So that's that. And okay, these are his tail tendrils, I guess. And I think, hold on, let me give it the test. Yeah. The resin did not reach the tail end of this tail. So I'm still trying to figure that out, just like with the creature there. Maybe I'll come up with something. Anybody have any ideas, please let me know. Please share. If you got some experience with this, I am open to advice. And again, I have to say this every video because I don't get repeat viewers a lot of times. So I am teaching myself to do this. I'm not an expert. I make a lot of mistakes. So just keep that in mind. Now, one mistake, oh no, I'll get to that in a minute. So this is part of the serpent snake lady here. Same thing. I think this is completely filled up, except for the ends, of course, where there's air dry clay. And this is the piece that's going to go over that once the air dry clay is completely dry. I'll glue that. And speaking of mistakes, that was one I made when I was drilling a hole into this. And this stuff is fragile, folks. This resin is fragile. So when I was drilling a hole into here, it cracked and this piece broke off. But that's not a big problem. It actually was a good thing because it allowed me a larger area to put the resin into right here. So that's that. And the tail, again, I was drilling and broke it off, but I'll fill this here with some epoxy clay. Now let's talk about the snake lady herself. I don't know why, but this did not completely fill up with resin. I just don't know why, because, hold on, let's do the test. Here, solid, and you can hear it right there, not solid at all. And I realized this yesterday while it was drying, and it was too late to do anything about it at that time. So I have to fill this up. I have to. And the reason I have to fill this up is because, can you see that crack right there? This thing continues to crack. This has been a pain in my side, the bane of my existence. It's been giving me fits for a couple of weeks now, and I refuse to let it go. I'm not going to let it fall apart on me. I will fix this thing. If you see the green marker, that was the first, hold on, it starts here. The green, that was the first crack, and I put super glue on it. I know it looks pretty nasty, but I'll try to clean it up. And once I glued that green crack, then where you see the red marker, that crack formed up, and I put super glue on that. And last night while this was drying, that crack right there formed. Now, I was under the impression that this resin coating would prevent it from cracking, but that's not the case. So again, I'm learning, folks. A lot of trial and error stuff here. So that did not work. And I noticed that the part that's filled with resin down here, there's no cracks. But then at the same time, there has been no cracks down there at all. So maybe that's not, okay, maybe that doesn't apply. All right. So, like I said, I have to fill this top part. I'm thinking that's going to prevent any further cracks. So what I'm going to do is drill a big ass hole, and it has to be big enough to get this funnel, that funnel right there. It has to be big enough to get that funnel into it. So it's going to look pretty bad, but that's my only alternative at this point. I can't go in through the bottom anymore. There's resin here. So I'm going to drill a big hole right here, fill it with resin. After I super glue this back together. And I'm pretty sure that that resin is going to keep it from cracking any future, any further. All right, we'll find out together, folks. If you stay tuned, we will find out together. You can learn from my mistakes because I make a lot of them. So that's it for that. Now let's swing over to these bases in this logo. All right, this is my setup. And as usual, I have all my safety gear, got my gloves, my mask, and my goggles. Safety first, folks. Remember that. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about. If you have been experiencing some sleepless nights, cut take two. If you have been experiencing some sleepless nights, laying up there wondering, I wonder, what does resin look like when you mix it with plaster of Paris? Well, folks, I'm glad you asked the question because that's what it looks like. It's not clear and pretty anymore. Once you put that plaster in it, that's the color it looks. That's the color it is right there. That's it. Just wanted to share that. Also, I will be, did I say I was going to coat these bats? I think I did. All right, so let's move on down to the logos. Oh, cut take two. But first, let's talk about this. This is my resin coating station, I guess I can call it that. Once I mix up my resin, I will be holding these bases over this pan and coating them with the resin. I don't want all of this resin to go to waste. So the idea is use this to coat them. Any leftover resin, hopefully I can use that to put inside of some of these parts up here. That's the idea. We'll see how it works out. Let me see, what else? Oh, okay, and speaking of learning from your mistakes, I will only be using one batch, and for me, one batch is one part of the B and one part of the A resin. Normally I mix two batches, or rather, let's put it this way. Normally I mix 4 cups, 2 of A and 2 of B. Today I will only be using 1 of A and 1 of B. And that's because when you're working with this stuff, for resins, there are different working times for different types of resin. So cut take two. Now for this resin, the working time is 30 minutes. And folks, let me tell you, 30 minutes goes fast when you're working with this stuff. So I've been working with it and it gets down to the last few minutes and it's starting to cure and it's hard to work with it then. So instead of having a big batch, I'm going to make a smaller batch and hopefully I can use it up before I get to that 30-minute time limit. So I'm going to mix that up as soon as I finish talking and coat these 3 right here. And I'm going to talk more about why I'm coating these in a moment, in a moment. Cut take two in a moment. Well, I guess I can do that now. Hell, let's get into this. All right, the logo. That logo is it's giving me some problems in the cut take two. I want to coat this logo just to see how it's going to look once I'm done with it. Plus, it's the paint is getting a little bit dull. I painted that maybe a year ago. Let's turn this around. Maybe that could be a good thumbnail shot right there. I'm letting it go to waste. So maybe by coating this, it'll keep it from getting dull. We'll find out. And I love that orange and red combination. I'm thinking about getting another one of these made real big, like each letter made individually so that they can be as big as possible and then put them together. I really like that style. What is it, font? I guess, whatever. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. All right, this one, folks. And this is wood. I painted that myself. And I want to see how that's going to react with the resin. That's why I will be coating that. Plus, I want it to look really shiny. I've seen some guys working with wood on YouTube, and it looks really great after they coat it with the resin. So I want to see how I can do with it. In this one, this thing, let me see if I can get closer. You can't see it, or it's not pointing. There's one. Right here, you can see some of it. This is a mixture of hot glue and air dry clay. All of this stuff right here on the base. After a few months, this stuff has started cracking and peeling, the air dry clay that is, and you can see wherever you see little white spots, that's the air dry clay. And the paint is starting to peel and crack off. So I'm going to put not air dry, Patrick. I am going to put resin on this base, and hopefully it's going to prevent it from cracking anymore. We'll find out. Again, all this is trial and error, folks. Find out the hard way. Oh, and if you in case you're wondering, those white things there are Q-tips. That's to keep the resin from filling the holes where the statue keys into. Oh, in the blue, in case you were asking about that or wondering about that, there's a magnet behind it. I did not want the resin to cover that. And I think that's it, folks. All right, let's turn this off. I'm going to mix up this resin, get started, and I might be back once I finish to show you some progress I've made. Thanks for watching. Bye. Damn, were my feet in the video? I hope not, because they look really bad right now. That might be my thumbnail right there, folks. I'm not sure. I'll have to look through this video. So let's get a really good shot of it. I think that would make a really nice thumbnail. All right, bye.